of your brand. So bright and funky with a large range of sizes. Lucy Locket Loves has one simple mantra: be happy, be healthy, be strong. Lucy Locket Loves is an award-winning activewear company founded by Lucy Arnold, who's been awarded Forbes 30 Under 30 for Europe in 2020. And she started the company after an injury left her packing away her PT business. She realized that activewear was very drab and dull and wanted to brighten things up. From packing orders in her living room, Lucy has just got to 500,000 orders in 5 years. And I expect at how quickly your business is moving that some of that information might be out of date and there's some milestones I've missed off.
That was submitted this morning.
Okay.
that is literally just hit 500,000 orders last week, I think. So we are, 5 years, 500,000 orders. We hit under 500,000. That's 500,000.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, that is absolutely incredible. So first of all, huge congratulations. I think, Lucy, before we get into what this conversation is going to be about, which is around social media and community and building that fan base, I think it would be great to dive a little bit into your why. And, we mentioned then that you were sort of led down the path of entrepreneurship because of injury ending a career you had before. Could you tell us a little bit more about that point in your journey?
Yeah, so I've kind of always had like a little bit of an entrepreneurial, I hate this word, spirit since I was really young. Like I used to make earrings and sell them to the kids at school when I was like 14. And then I think this drive to work for myself, when I was 21, I bought a paint your own pottery studio and did that for 4 years. And then had a change of career to a PT, had my own personal training studio, and just got this back injury out of nowhere. And from that, I needed money. I needed to pay rent. And I was like, what can I do? So I had studied fashion retail when I was like 17 at the Fashion Retail Academy. It was like a 1-year course. And literally, because I was just at home laid up all the time, found or sourced some suppliers, got some samples, and basically launched this from my bed to just cover rent. That was the whole idea, was sell to friends, clients, personal training clients, just to kind of cover up until the point where I needed my operation on my back. And then they came and they were sold, and then I ordered more and they were sold, and I ordered more and they were sold, and it was just this like rinse and repeat. And all of a sudden it was rinsing and repeating faster than I knew how to kind of cope with. And there we're here now, and I still look back and think, oh wow, that's been a weird few years, because it was never the end goal. It was just a part-time thing really until I could go back to PT, and I really do miss that aspect of my job. But I do feel like I kind of have that with the community that we have online a little bit.
Fantastic. And so was there a moment, when was the moment when you thought, this is a little bit more than a business that I can run from my bed?
I think that it's at first it was like slow progression. So I moved it from, so I used to PT client, and I'd do orders in the evening from my living room, and then I had like a storeroom at the studio, and I moved the stock into there. And then I was like, okay, this isn't enough space to do orders and this. And then I moved across the road into, my landlord had another studio. And I think slowly it was like the progression. It was a slow progression, but it was like you were growing and you were trying to catch up constantly. Even after 5 years now, I feel like I can never catch my breath because something else happens. So there's never really been like a set stage. There's always that something more, and that evolution as we grow as a brand. It's difficult. I have huge imposter syndrome. I do not see myself as anything special, or I when I get asked to do stuff like this, I'm always amazed that somebody wants me to be the speaker here. I find it absolutely bizarre.
Well, I find that bizarre, and I find that incredible because, as I mentioned to you, we only met just before this session, about 20 minutes ago. I've been aware of Lucy Locket Loves for quite some time. I've been a customer of Lucy Locket Loves. And one of the things that I've really admired is that sense of community that you've got on social media. And I think I said to you before, when I gave the introduction saying bright and funky, if anyone hasn't actually seen Lucy's product range, please Google it, because it will really bring to life what I mean. But what I said to Lucy is that whenever I've worn a pair of the leggings, there's a knowing nod if you see somebody else wearing them, or if someone knows that you're wearing Lucy Locket Loves. And that is absolutely incredible to have fostered that sense of community, right across the UK, because I'm here in Wales. I'm a long way away from, where your immediate, journey started. And I guess how important has community and building up that sort of that authenticity with your customers been in the journey of Lucy Locket Loves?
Oh, it's been huge. I think that they've kind of been on that first journey. A lot of people have been on that first journey of like me kind of waiting to have my back operation. And it was very much that I kind of blogged that process of what was going on. And if you back to the start, and that's how it kind of grew originally, is that I was never a brand that just put a product forward. It was never about just product. It was also like these people really helped me through like a really difficult time as well. So as much as they felt I was helping them, they were helping me in return. And then that authenticity, or those genuine posts, continued and still continue to this day. I've never tried to kind of back away from the realities of running a business on social media. I'm honest and open, and nowadays the things that I celebrate are way bigger than what they used to be, and I might not I might not share as much of the bad stuff, but that's because in the early stages I was so overwhelmed with this business that I never set out to have. Like, I don't know how to be a boss to people, but the community aspect of that is they kind of give light up a spark in me as they tell me I light up a spark in them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you've as we've talked about, your growth has been pretty significant over the last 5 years. You're front and center a lot of the social media activity that you do. I knew about some of the holidays that you'd been on. I knew about some of the meals that you'd had before I'd met you. But as a business grows, is it hard for the founder to still be involved on that detailed level of social media? How have you managed it?
No one manages our social media, just me. That's it. I would never hand such a vital core part of our business over to anybody. Now, there is like my admin team do manage comments and reply to customers, but the content, every single thing that is posted on that page is curated by me. We did have a period of time last year where we had a few months where we had someone who created that content, and it just didn't have the same level of engagement or authenticity, or it just doesn't work. Now, some of the admin girls will post occasionally if I'm like out of office or just can't. But no, the core person, even after 5 years, in everything that we do, is me. That is one of, I would say, my main job description parts of the business that I have now. I don't think I could hand it over to anybody. My face is the brand. Me, my parents, we are the faces of our own brand, and I think you can really tell if a post is not written by me. It doesn't have that same language or emojis, or you can just tell it doesn't have that same level of connection that I feel to our community.
Fantastic. Sorry, I've just caught a bit of cough there. And one of the things I really admire about the social media that you do is I think that you are incredible at building up the hype around new product launches, new drops, things like that. Can you explain to the people watching today, some of the returns that you've seen from being very, very active and present on social media? What benefits has it brought you?
So mainly sales in general, like how people repeat purchase our products. So our statistics say that from someone ordering their first order, from it landing on their doorstep, 90% of those people order again within the next 24 hours. Is what our statistics say. So from that first order, and then most of those customers stay on as customers, and they order at least once a month. And that's what our statistics tell us about our customer base. And in terms of social media, with like sneak peeks and hype about things, I really hate it if I see something's launching from the Wednesday and it's launching on the Saturday at 10 a.m. It doesn't give me enough chance to prepare for things, or I'm like, oh, I'm in and ahhing. Whereas if people kind of know what's coming in and know what to expect, I'm kind of telling people what's happening over the next 3 months. I think it gives people a chance to plan. And like, also, like, we live in this economy now where it's really hard just to buy something straight away. We've got to save up. We've not got the funds or resources just to grab something straight away. So if someone knows something's arriving like late December, they can save up for that, or they can ask it for Christmas, or it gives people time to plan, and it's not just like a get this now or it's gone kind of situation.
Fantastic, thank you. And so you talk then about knowing, you know, that your average customer will buy and then rebuy within a certain time. So how important is tracking the analytics to you and tracking those patterns? And does it change how you might approach a social media campaign?
I have no interest in any of those stats. I only know them because I have a team of people that report them to me, because they for me, and it's going to sound bad, I don't really care. And I know that sounds awful. I think that sometimes if you're too heavily influenced by outside facts, figures, numbers, it will change how I react with my audience as well. It will change how I put myself on social media. Like, obviously there's core figures that I need to know. I need to know our turnover. I need to know how many orders we're shifting out a day. I need to know, but the operations side of things like that's up to people who are running ads to know about. It depends. You can go as deep as you want with it, can't you? You can learn all that information, but that's just taking up information in my brain, whereas creativity is what I'm good at. I'm good at creating social media content. I'm good at planning products. I'm good at product launches. I'm good at, so why would I want to fill my head with that side of things when I'm good at this side, if that makes sense? But you've got to find, like, it took me a long time to realize that didn't happen overnight. Like, I used to try and be the one person that did everything. But those knowing those figures and just having that small statistic like off the top of my head, it does let me know that, like, how important it is that if someone's found us on social media, that actually they've not got a product they hate, they've got a product and they love that product. So whether they found it through me posting something about body positivity or me posting a funny video of my mom and not actually selling them a product, they've still actually got that product, they're really happy with it, and they've purchased again. So it kind of goes hand in hand without organically going hand in hand. I know what I mean in my head sometimes, and I try to get it out and I can't. Sorry.
No, I'm exactly the same, Lucy. And there's a few questions coming in. Just to remind everybody that's watching, pop your questions in the Q&A box, and I will certainly come to them throughout this conversation. And I think, Lucy, I think that authenticity and that sticking your hands up and saying, actually, I don't necessarily know it all or know how to explain it all, is really part of brand Lucy. And I think it's what people really love, because you're real and you're human. So I guess when it comes to drilling down into the detail, you know, social media maybe used to mean 1 or 2 platforms. With the arrival of all of these new channels, how do you know where to focus your attention? Do you sort of run after the new shiny social media platform, or?
No. So for me, it's really difficult because everyone's saying like TikTok is the new thing. I'm on TikTok, but it's not TikTok for work. It's like a personal TikTok. I find that different social media platforms have different meanings or different resolutions for companies. And I don't believe that a company needs to be on every social media platform. I think it's ridiculous if you think you're going to try and manage that and create genuine, authentic content and community and people that will connect with you. I think that you need to find what you are good at and the place where your customers are. Our customers are on Facebook. Now, everyone tells me that Facebook is dying a death and it's going to go away and blah, blah, blah. It's not. Like, I don't believe for a second that we're going to wake up one day and Facebook's going to go away, but it's that Gen Z or the younger generation aren't using Facebook. Well, cool. The younger generation is not my target market. I'm not trying to sell my products to that target market. So my network or my community are still on Facebook. We have probably about 50% of the following on Instagram as we do Facebook. So I think we're about 140k on Facebook and about 68 on Insta. But that's a very different audience. So I do find if I cross post, I don't get the same level of interaction. So I think what you've got to do is just find 2 or 3 platforms that also you enjoy. If you are a one-man band or you're a very small startup, find what you enjoy. Where do you enjoy being? I hate being on LinkedIn, but I have to be on LinkedIn because of the opportunities that arise. But I literally just said to one of my admin girls the other day, please just sort out my profile. Like, I can't stand this place. Like, I feel like everyone's just, it's just very different, isn't it? But I'm not trying to sell anything on LinkedIn. Twitter, it's not the place for me. And TikTok, it's just finding what's right for you and your brand, and don't just try and chuck something at every social media platform and see if it sticks. Spend a few weeks trying to create a Facebook community. Spend a few weeks seeing if Instagram's the place for you. Don't I think we a lot of brands nowadays feel they need to be everywhere to be seen, and actually if you strip that down, you can be authentically seen really well in one place. That's what we've done through Facebook. We've kind of did that from day one, and that's where our main community and audience still are.
I think that's incredible advice. We have been absolutely inundated with questions in the last 5 minutes. So usually I sort of leave them to the end, but I want to make sure we get to them and give everybody sort of what they want from this session. But I do want to read out, I've got one more question that's sort of related to a comment we've had.
Okay.
Claire Olson says, I had a collaboration with Lucy in 2020 with my dog accessory brand. She is a total legend. I still have very loyal.
You'll make me cry.
A huge thank you, Lucy.
I can cry so easily at the minute. Literally, I don't know what's going on in my hormones. Oh, thank you, Claire. That's so lovely of you to say.
But collaboration is something that that I hear talked about a lot, and I think it's so important for small businesses. What success or any examples that you've had of collaborations that have really worked?
So over the years, we've done like numerous things. We've done Claire with Charlie and Boo. We did Actively Giving. We've done Sugar and Slop. At the minute, we've got a very small but incredible illustrator called Emily Harvey. That collection launches on Friday. I think I just want to, I kind of just work with brands that I love. So a lot of the time I get people that contact me and I'm a bit like, nah, it's got to be something I love and I'm really invested in and want to invest in as well. And actually I find like we did this huge collaboration with Diane Buswell from Strictly Come Dancing in 2020. But if you look at the levels of that compared to working with someone small, like let's say Charlie and Boo, because Claire's on the call, the actual level of interaction and audiences that would have done better for our brand than Diane, because the people came because of Diane, but they didn't stay around. These guys came because it's hard to what's the word, to explain sometimes, but actually people think that working with someone bigger will bring them a bigger audience. Actually, that's not always the case. Don't rule out the smaller brands as well, because the smaller brands will be funner to work with as well, because you can really create that beautiful collaboration that's really just fun and a little bit different. But for me, it's about working with I just want to work with, I'm in a position where I can now work with people who make my job really happy, and I want to work on really fun, cool projects. I'm not going to work on stuff just because of their social media following. It's just not where it's not where I am. And I think I've always kind of said no to that, actually. If I look back, there has been some opportunities that I've said no to because they just didn't sit right. I'm very much a person of go with your gut, and if it doesn't sit right in my gut, it's a no. And I have made one mistake, and I won't mention what it was. And I should have trusted my gut from the word go, and I didn't. And I look back now and think, do you know what? You should have just said no on that call, and things would have been a little bit different.
I think being an entrepreneur at the helm of a very successful business and saying you've made one mistake is a pretty damn...
I've made way more. I mean, like in terms of like working with another company, not necessarily a collaboration. Oh no, I've made tons of mistakes. I don't know what I'm doing. I still rock up to work and I'm like, oh wow, this is how did this happen? Like, like we all make mistakes, but our mistakes are what shape us. And without those mistakes, I wouldn't be where I am today. Everyone always asks, like, what would you go back and change? And honestly, not one single thing. I even the thing I was just talking about, because all of those moments and all of those decisive decisions led me to be sat in this chair right now speaking to you. That serendipity effect. And if I'd have done something different, could I be more successful? Possibly, but could I have also turned into a bit of a dickhead? Might have done. You don't know, do you? So sorry, I just swore. My
All
mum,
right. That's quite all right.
when I saw, I can't even see her, and I know she probably went at the same time. So they lead you to those moments, don't they? Yeah. So it's
Fantastic. Lucy, you talked about imposter syndrome. Jill Thomas asks, how have you got over your imposter syndrome, telling you that you don't have anything interesting or relevant to say?
It's so difficult, isn't it? Because I don't think I am I'm over it. Like, I do believe, yeah, I still don't. It's such a difficult thing. I think that day in, day out, I just remain authentic to myself and my own morals and my own values, and I try to be a good person. And sometimes it's my own mental health and my own negativity that get in my head, and it's like, you don't deserve this, you can't do this. And I think you have to find a way to kind of help yourself. So for me, getting out on my bike or going to the gym and lifting weights make me feel strong, and then when I feel strong, I feel like I can be strong in my business, and therefore I feel like I deserve all the success that I've had. But that works for me. I think different people find different things. But I think that social media is great, it is, and this is about like the amazing side of social media. Social media very quickly can make you feel not good about yourself very easily. And I have to kind of step away from that negativity sometimes. Like, quite often I'm like, why, like, what was I, a few years ago, I was called a plus size personal trainer. I was like a size 12. It's like, oh, get lost. But imposter syndrome, I don't think anyone really gets out of it, because we're all just on this hard rock, aren't we, just trying to navigate life. And I don't really have any arrogance in me. I think that a lot of people sometimes get quite successful and get quite arrogant, and I think it's just not a trait that I have or want to have. I don't know if I've answered that question then. I can't remember what the question was. I just went off on a tangent. Sorry. Did I answer it?
I think you have, and I think that what you've proved is that, authenticity is so important. And I think that, nobody knows it all, and if you can be honest with that and share the bits, the lessons that you've had and the successes, and support others, I think that's you're doing it very admirably. So we've got, first of all, just to put your mind at rest, Ali says, I'm Irish. That wasn't swearing.
Okay, that's fine. I know it wasn't like a proper swear, but I was a bit like, oh God, this is recorded and someone's going to hear me say that. It was more my mom that I know that she'll be liking a bit. She'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe you said that.
So when you say your mum, I mean, I know her as Mama Lockett. We've got Mama Lockett and Papa Lockett. And I think that when we talk about community, what I've seen from your brand is that it's not just about the customers, it's about your team, and they're very much part of the community and a part of the narrative and the story. And Vic asks here, and I think this is a challenge that we're all facing after coming out of the pandemic, are your Lockett team all in-house, or do you have some remote team? I've followed Lucy Lockett Loves for 3 years. Love everything about you and your brand. I have a large collection, including dog bandanas from Charlie and Boo, and I'd love to be part of your Lockett team if you do have remote positions. I'm putting you on the spot a little bit there, but I think the overarching question is community when you're not in the same room. Is that a challenge you deal with, or?
So funnily enough, my three admin girls that work for me, they are all based in Newcastle. They all work from home, and they have become, over the last 5 years, not only my best friends, but they all work for me, and I met them through our community. I did not know them before Lucy Locket Loves, and a lot of people are like, what? Like, how did they buy a pair of leggings, become your best friend, and work for you? I don't know, like, it's a funny story. Me and Louise went on holiday in the summer talking about it, but so we have a mixture of in-house and remote, but Rachel, Louise and Michelle have always been remote. They've never worked in the office. And then the Rachel, who's our lead designer, she works in Bury predominantly. So we do have a mixture. As we grew as a business, it was very difficult to make decisions in staff because it just, things just like happened so fast. So it went from me to me and my dad, to me, my dad and my mom, to me, my dad, my mom and my brother's boyfriend, to like at first it was just kind of people that we knew, but the community aspect of it is, yeah, it's incredible. I've met incredible friends through this. Sarah, who works with, actually I met her through, yeah, a lot of people know or have jobs for us because they kind of knew of us first. But in terms of hiring, we aren't hiring at the minute, but if you want to shoot us a CV over, we will happily record it on file and get in touch with any jobs. But if we actually, I don't even know why I'm saying don't bother sending us a CV, because I hate CVs. I think they're the worst thing in the world. You do learn nothing about a person when you see a CV. So if you want to shoot us an email, and when there's a job, we'll get in touch and we'll probably ask you for a video and tell us something about you.
There you go. Fantastic. Well, there you go, Vic. That's the next job for you. I think we one of the things I'd like to ask, because I've seen that you've done quite a lot of this recently, is it's bringing your online audience offline to actually meeting each other face to face. When was the first time you did that? And I think seeing comments on social media, you've got this community, but when you actually have people connecting over a brand in real life, that's really special.
Yeah, so actually the first time we did this was like a few years ago. It was, oh, sorry, my alarm is going beeping. I don't know why. It'll be fine. My mum's probably cleaning it or something. I'll keep an eye on it. Sorry, question. So actually a few years ago, what we did is we did this competition where who could get the most amount of people in Lockets together. So people kind of created their own groups on Facebook where they got people that were all Liverpool, Newcastle, Scotland. Like there was a little place in Scotland, done somewhere, they won. And they all had to wear Lockets in one photo. And that's where like some relationships were created. And then if we're like going to a park run, we'll say like, we're at a park run, do you want to come and meet us here? And there's a lot of like offset like Locket groups where people have kind of created these communities upon themselves, if they live local, and yeah, creating that online, offline. But a lot of people kind of make friends if they're at running events or park runs or just out, because of that like nod that you said, where it's like, oh, I like your Lockets. I like your Lockets. And people have created friendships and relationships from that. And I just think it's absolutely incredible that just like a pair of leggings have created so many friendships. Again, like I have some of my best friends that I would have never met if I'd have never have gone on this journey. And I know other people feel like that as well, that they've met really close friends, and all it started was probably a pair of dinosaur leggings, which is just absolutely incredible. Especially nowadays, like I feel in my 30s, it's very hard to make friends. It's very difficult to make friends. And I'm at a stage where all of my friends have now got kids. I think like I'm the last one standing, and you can't just pop to the pub for a pint after work. You can't just go to a show on a Saturday because of childcare. And our leggings have kind of created those friendships, and I think that that's an amazing thing that I feel so like empowered and happy about, that that it's not just an item of clothing, it's something that's potentially made someone who is suffering heavily with their mental health just have someone that they can reach out to. And the amount of messages that we get in terms of that is incredible. Like my inbox is flooded sometimes, I just can't even deal with it. Just people thanking us for how, and it's crazy that a pair of leggings literally did this. But I think that goes back to how I interact again on our social media. I try and be very open.
Yeah, it's more than the leggings though, isn't it? Because you're, like we mentioned at the beginning, your brand has purpose. And I think that, and I mean this in the most respectful way, if you were literally just posting about leggings, I just don't think you'd have the same success.
Oh no, not at all. No. If anyone learns anything from this call because they want to get better at their own social media, for instance, stop trying to sell people products. Like the days that we post nothing about products and it's literally just me in the morning talking about going to a meeting, my lunch, and me and my mum having tea at the time, some of those days can be our best sales days. Stop trying to sell products to people. People buy from people. They don't buy from products anymore. Not buy from products anymore. What am I trying to say? Stop trying to be a salesperson. People want to connect with you, your brand, what you do, what your mission behind it is, what your journey is, and in the honesty of how hard it is to run a business. It was hard 5 years ago. It's bloody hard now for anyone starting out, or it's a small business. Like it really, if anyone starts now and manages to succeed, like honestly, please reach out to me in a couple of years so I can just give you the massive big pat on the back, because it's a difficult world we're trying to navigate.
Yeah, it most certainly is. Mark asks, how do you get past friends and family when advertising on Facebook? So how do you set up your Facebook presence, and you have the people that you can sort of click invite to, but yeah, how did you then get out to the masses?
I don't know, it seems so long ago. I think so it has changed now compared to like when I was starting out. There was different ways to do it when I was starting out. There was a lot of like blogger groups, and you could like share your link in those, and you'd share your link in like running clubs on groups. You'd share your links in like different places. You'd say to like the person who owned the running club, like, oh, can I give you a discount code? And they'd share it. Or you'd reach out to someone who you'd see was a club-a-size instructor, and you'd send them a free pair of leggings to post a code. It's really difficult, but creating content that people engage with is quite easy in terms of it only takes a couple of shares. So it only takes your friends and family sharing that a couple of times to their friends and family, and it's that slow roller coaster. No one, if anyone gives you this grand ambition that you're going to go from 0 to 100,000 followers overnight, it's not going to happen. Like, don't let anyone kid you. But those 2-3 followers will become 20, 30, will become 2-300, will become 2-3,000, and that process will be slow, but remain consistent. I speak to one of my best friends, has a very small jewelry business, and she's like, how do you post 5 times a day? And I'm like, I do. Come rain or shine, I post 5 times a day. Some days will be like 2 times a day, but we never have missed a day on social media in 5 years. And that includes every single day, Christmas Day, Boxing Day, New Year's Day, even the days I am really hungover and I am laid there, like the last thing I want to do right now is stare at my phone and post on social media. The other thing that I find works for me with social media is I don't understand brands that schedule content 3-4 weeks in advance.
That was going to be my next question.
Stop doing it. Everything that I have 0 scheduled posts on my phone right now. I can even show you just so people actually believe me. So scheduled on Facebook, there is nothing scheduled. Can you see? There's nothing there. No, I post what's happening right here, right now, what's going off in my world right now. And it's that I must have said genuine or authentic like hundreds of times, I'm sorry, but it's that like that presence. Be present with your content. Post what's happening in your world right now. Don't try and plan 4 or 5 weeks ahead, because it's not relevant. Like, I don't know where we're going to be in 4 or 5 weeks, regardless. Me as a person, the world, well, I don't know, like for me, Matt Hancock going in Time Celebrity last week, I was like, what's going off? And then I look today and apparently everyone wants him to win, and I'm like, what happened in the space of a week, guys? Like, you do not know how the world has changed and evolved. So stay present. Post you with your cup of coffee. I do find one thing that really helps and has always helped us as a brand. Sorry, I'm rattling.
No. Please.
We do a lot of Q&As with customers, so I'll be like, I've got 20 minutes, ask me anything. And if they want to ask me about fitness, if they want to ask me about social media, if they want to ask me about when a pair of leggings are coming in, and we probably do these like once a week, once every 2 weeks, and we can vary from 20 questions to 300 questions.
Wow.
But that means that our community completely connect with me entirely, and they can ask me whatever they want, within reason. Like if sometimes there's quite intrusive questions and I'm a bit like, I'm not gonna answer that, but no one would answer it. I wouldn't even answer it if my best friends asked me it. And that really helps. If you're struggling at first to create that genuine, those few posts, do a post that's like, I'm just having a cup of coffee before my morning meeting, ask me anything. And if you ask your friends and family to ask you a couple of questions on it at first, cool, but then that social reach will slowly
Grow
improve.
and expand, yeah.
But don't expect, you just stay consistent. Even if no one's liking your post, it doesn't matter, just stay consistent, just keep at it. If you're finding that after like 3-4 months nothing's changed, then you've got to change something. But maybe that could be that content is more relevant or authentic or genuine or more about you rather than your product. Yeah, I think that's what I mean.
Great advice. Are there any tools that you use that make your life easier at all?
Now I think I probably make my life hard because like I don't schedule my content. No, like for us as a business, like we live on Slack. I love Google Meet. I don't really use Zoom anymore. I use Google Meet for everything nowadays. I probably do make my life hard by not using things that would potentially make it easier, but my brain works in a certain way. Like I do feel like I'm wired a bit differently. A lot of my family have ADHD. It's a massive ADHD. Pretty much everyone in my family has ADHD diagnosed, and I never thought I did until recently. The last like couple of years I've been like, do you know what, maybe I have as well, maybe it went missed because everyone had it more severe or in different ways. The way that my brain works is I can get so overwhelmed quickly, so I have to break things down into what needs to do in the next hour, what needs doing before lunch, what needs doing before the end of the day, what needs doing before the end of the week, what needs doing before the end of the month, and I have a list after list after list of what needs doing, but it works for me. So like my mum wanted to ask me something about tomorrow evening, we're going somewhere, and I was like, nah, I can get to this that we're doing right now, then we can get there. And that's how I deal with feeling overwhelmed. But maybe I could make that easier for me.
But I think, it sounds to me from everything you've said that it's your superpower. So
potentially, yeah. It's not, I don't think it's a bad thing. It's just I don't feel like my brain's wired the same as everyone else's sometimes. But don't we all feel like that? What's normal? What is normal?
Absolutely. Look, I can't believe how quickly time is going. So we've not got that much time left. If you had a piece of advice for founders, especially in the startup community, when it comes to winning over audiences on social media, what would that be?
Just don't try and create content that you think people want to see. Create content that you genuinely are passionate about, believe in. You don't know what people want to see. You just imagine in your head what you think people want to see. So create content that if you create content that feels authentic to you, but create content that you want to see rather than what you think your audience want to see. And I know that's way easier said than done, but also don't spend loads of time and money and resources creating content. As you can see with my scheduled content, literally all of the content we do is just right here, right now, take a photo, upload, add a paragraph. People spend so much time and money like tweaking and changing and making something different on Canva and paying someone £500 to stop. Just like take a step back, be like, can I do this myself? You can. How much is it going to cost me? It's going to cost me 3 minutes of my time. Okay, let's see. And actually, I have found as well recently that if I upload a picture on Facebook that's been on my phone camera roll about 3 weeks, no matter what the content says, the reach is terrible. If I upload a picture that I have took in the last hour, the reach is significantly better. And I don't know if there's any truth in this or if this is something that Facebook are doing, but I definitely have found that anything like kind of pre-orchestrated or older does not perform as well. But maybe that's just because my audience is so used to seeing us now. But that can just be a pair of leggings photo. Like, yeah. So for me, you can save a lot of money by trying to do this yourself, instead of trying to pay experts to do it. And it's not bashing the experts. It's just that's how I've created my community. So that's worked for me. And maybe if you give it a try, it might work for you.
Fantastic. You mentioned earlier, I think one of the tips you'd given was in the early days, you might, send someone a pair of leggings or send a code to a running group or what have you. I guess that's influencer marketing before influencer marketing was a thing.
Kind of, yeah. So we still work with in that way, as if someone has a running club or whatever, if they contact us, they can have a code, kind of no questions asked, whatever kind of community group or anything you've got going on. I think the way that we do it though is it wasn't necessarily influencers, it was just people who had their own communities that kind of asked us and we contributed to their community, rather than someone who's got like 200,000 followers. Again, we have found that those relationships with the people with like a micro following as such are longer sustained, and they do create better relationships for us. Unfortunately, nowadays we live in a world that if someone has 300,000 social media followers, it's probably their full-time job, and they really rely on paid content to create. And people don't buy from these influencers anymore. They're sick of being sold stuff constantly that this influencer has no interest in as such. One thing that we have used recently is something called Room Unlocked. So you speak to them, they put together a campaign for you, but influencers that bid on it, they don't get anything in return other than free product. So you put what the product is, and we got like 120 bids on ours, which was a huge one, and the cost of it isn't really significant compared to how much we'd usually spend on Google ads or Facebook ads or anything like that. But what that will do is these are a lot smaller influencers, but it's not necessarily their full-time job, and they are working on not a paid for basis, they're working on a gifted basis. So it creates those genuine, authentic connections, because they've got to love our products to want to post them, because otherwise why would you spend time creating content? So there's just different ways of finding what works for you. But I would say, like, people's dream is to go after those big influencers. Like, actually, you can create some amazing content, create some amazing relationships, by not pushing away the people who have got like between 2 and 20,000 followers such.
Yeah, fantastic advice. And what was that platform called? Did you say Room Unlocked?
Room Unlocked. If you want me to make an introduction, Fran, I can do that.
That sounds fantastic. It sounds like it could be really great. So Ali asks, is there any post or photo that you wish that you hadn't posted?
If there is, I can't think of one off the top of my head. So I presume I'm kind of no, but I don't care. Like, if someone, I think, like, if you've kind of followed me from the start, you'll know that I really used to struggle with my skin. I had horrendous adult acne, like very, very bad adult acne. So in the early days, my skin is absolutely hideous on these pictures, and I can't wear makeup because it's so bad. So I think anything I post nowadays, like, nah, I'm really not. I've never really held back. I'm not overly bothered. People can kind of say what they want, and if you don't like it, just unfollow it. It's fine. My mum's stood here looking at me now. I can't speak to you at the minute.
There you go. That's true authenticity. Hi, Mama Locket.
Shouting hello. Don't know. She's putting her finger up to like ask me a question. I'm like, nah, can she type it in and ask you and you can ask me?
That might work.
But yeah, no, I don't think in terms of content that we've posted I've ever, like I said, I can't think of anything off the top of my head now. If I have, maybe someone can tell me if I have, and I might have like done it and then deleted it, but I don't think there is. Nothing comes to the front of mind.
Well, that's good. Well, look, we're really sort of drawing to a close here, and I want to sort of broaden up this last question beyond just social media.
Okay.
You've had a really successful journey so far, but if you could go back to the start and change anything, what would that be?
Nothing. I wouldn't change anything. Like every single thing that we have done, every decision that I have made, everything that has happened to me, to my business, to my family, every single thing, even that back injury at the very start, has all led to being here, being in this room now with these people. I just wouldn't. Now, maybe if things had gone really sour, I might change that, but I do believe that I am a person that believes that things happen for a reason. And I honestly, there's nothing I'd change. I don't think, even the bad stuff I wouldn't change. No.
Fantastic. It's all part of the journey, isn't it? It's all part of the
Yeah.
Lucy Locket Love story. Well, look, Lucy, I knew that I'd like you as soon as I logged onto Zoom, and you completely lived up to it. Really wonderfully authentic, an incredibly inspiring entrepreneur. There's questions that are still coming in. So I would suggest everybody go and follow Lucy Locket Loves on all of the relevant social media platforms and throw your question in, because Lucy's already said she doesn't ask me anything.
And if anyone wants to shoot me an email, I can't promise I'll get back to you today, but if you want to shoot me an email and ask something, I promise I will try and have a look at it and respond. It's just lucy@lucylocketloves.com. But yeah, just shoot me one. I'm happy to try and respond.
That's incredibly kind. And this recording will be available for everybody shortly as well. So you'll all be emailed. Lucy, have a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you so much for your time. And thank you so much, everybody, for joining.